So my next topic is all about the keystone species. So keystone species, known as the biggest player in the community ecology. It holds the community together. Removal of keystone species dramatically alters the structure and function of a community. A trophic cascade occurs. In general, a keystone species is a predator that prevents a particular herbivorous species from eliminating dominant plant species. So, a species that is critical to an ecosystem and affects the survival and number of many other organisms in the community. So, for example, the grizzly bears, in which salmon come into the rivers from the oceans. Grizzly bears ate the salmon. Grizzly bears poo, nutrients-rich poo, and leave behind partially eaten carcasses in the forest. So this feeds the forest from its nutrients. A keystone species in our organism that helps define an entire ecosystem. Without its keystone species, the ecosystem would be dramatically different or cease to exist together. Keystone species have low functional redundancy. This means that if the species were to disappear from ecosystem, no other species would be able to fill its ecological niche. The ecosystem would be forced to radically change, allowing new possibly invasive species to populate the habitat. In any arrangement or community, the keystone is considered one of the most vital parts in marine ecosystem or any type of ecosystem. A keystone species is an organism which holds the system together. So without it, ecosystem would look very different. Some ecosystems might not be able to adapt environmental changes if their keystone species disappeared. That could spell the end of the ecosystem, or it could allow an invasive species to take over and dramatically shift the ecosystem in a new direction. So the concept of keystone species was introduced in 1969 by Robert T. Payne. So in which he introduced starfish as the keystone predator and mussels as a keystone prey. Starfish as a keystone predators. In a rocky intertidal zone, mussels are superior and are occupying space, crowding out other species. Starfish are effective predators of mussels and thereby make room for other species. So, a starfish removal experiment in Washington state demonstrated that the mussels are competitive dominants. Starfish predation opens up enough space for various barnacles, echinoderms, and other marine invertebrate species to maintain a presence. When starfish are experimentally removed, mussels take over and other species are excluded. So just look at a figure or the picture. A horde of hungry starfish converge on mussel bed. A starfish curls its body around the mussel, using its tube feet to pry apart the valves enough to insert its insensible stomach. Digestive enzymes break down the mussel's muscle, and starfish consumes its prey. So other indirect species interaction. Keystone species effect is the best known example of indirect interaction. One cannot have a keystone species effect without the presence of indirect interaction. So, keystone species produce strong indirect effects out of proportion to their abundance. So, if a predator strongly suppresses its prey, for example, the herbivores, one expects the trophic level below. example the plant, to benefit. Such top-down trophic cascades are well known in lakes. So domino effects, a conservation issue. So removal of one species causes other species to be lost from the system, also known as the ripple effect. When the dodo, or a 25-kilogram pigeon, was exterminated on Mauritius, the tree Calvaria major ceased to recruit. Its seeds needed to be abraded in the dodo's gizzard to germinate. Another one is an example of facultative mutualism between an African people and a bird. Indicators. It is the Boran-Honey Guide mutualism. So Boran find bee colonies more quickly when guided by the bird. The bird informs on direction, distance to an arrival at bee colony. Search time is reduced from 8.9 to 3.2 hours. So honey guides get larvae, wax, and are in less danger from bees. So another example is an obligate mutualism between the ants and the thorny small tree of dry tropical forest, which is the acacia. Acacia provides shelter, hollow thorns, and food, which is the nectar, protein bodies to ant. So, ants remove herbivorous insects, vines, and other plants and left litter, which reduces risk of fire. So, the ant acacia mutualism, an ant acacia, Pseudomyrex peroginia, sipping nectar from the petular nectary of a swollen thorn acacia in Costa Rica. So, Pseudomyrmex ants provide two services to acacia trees: 24 hours patrolling of leaves for protection against insects and mammals. So, clearing of plants from ground and from acacia trees themselves as protection from competitors and fire. So, the last one is commensalism. It is when one species benefits and the other neither benefits nor is harmed, or the A plus or zero interaction. So, the cattle agrees to follow cattle, consuming the insects disturbed by the cow's movement. It is unlikely that the cows benefit. So that's all my report for the first topics. Thank you, and once again, good day.